minutes until next month.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Berry, by the chair, second by Mr. Woods. Chair, if you'll open the voting. All right, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. This brings us to, we have one board member who has yet to draw lots. Mr. Bailey, I think you have our lot box.
Yeah. Mr. Bailey will bring the lots to you.
Mr. Marshall, if you will draw a slip out of the box, this will determine the tenure of your term. Do you care to share it with us?
That would be awful nice.
Big gun folder.
1 year, all right. So you'll be, give Mr. Clark or Mr. Jean if you have any questions about that. All right, so that brings us to our first case today, which is case 22-16, 1701 LaGuardia Street. Is there anyone here to speak on this case? Ms. Collins? Anyone else wish to speak for case 22-16? All right, anyone wish to speak against case 22-16? What do we hear?
I move to approve.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Hendricks, second by Mr. Woods. Any discussion? All right, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Tab 8 is case 22-20, 432 Albany. And if you will bear with me just a moment, I got out of order with our drawing of lots and failed to do my opening remarks. So for the record, I will do that now. Welcome to the regular scheduled public meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Shreveport Metropolitan Planning Commission. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make public comments on an application, we have comment slips at the speaker's stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it in the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant, then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an application. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the application may then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on that case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decisions on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing our website at shreveportcaddompc.com. All ZBA decisions on variances to zoning within the city limits of Shreveport are subject to appeal to district court. All ZBA decisions on special exception uses within the city limits of Shreveport are subject to appeal to City Council. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact either district court or City Council about their procedures as related to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and the phone numbers to contact the governing bodies are available on the table next to the podium and in the entryway to this room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off all cell phones while the ZBA is in session. The Zoning Board of Appeals values your testimony and appreciates your compliance with these guidelines. All right, moving on, case 22-20.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Krug.
I live at 432 Albany Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105. I've been at this address for about 12 years now. I want to thank you for agreeing to hear my variance for a 6 feet high fence along the property line of my front yard. My neighbor lives at 428 Albany Avenue. I do understand and realize the purpose of this committee is not to hear and decide neighbor disputes, but several people did recommend I pursue this matter through this committee, number one. Number two, I view this committee as having a history of making decisions that are fair, reasonable, impartial, and neutral. Number three, perhaps the committee might suggest some new ideas. And number four, if a citizen is willing to follow the law by filing the correct paperwork, paying the necessary fees, getting the permits, and presenting his case before this committee before in advance of construction, that should mean something that has some value. I do try to be a polite and courteous neighbor on my street. One time our neighbor left her car windows down. I went next door, knocked on her door, told her she left her windows down. During the fall of 2020, October, our neighbors were attempting to convert her carport into a garage. We had no problems with that at all. We were fine with it. No problems with that at all. Our concern was there might be additional rainfall drainage into our property as a result of her construction structures, which could actually compromise the foundation of our house. We did try to approach her and talk to her about this, but she became very, very combative, so we backed off. I found out later on that she never applied for the permits in the first place. The street office did tell me other neighbors had complained about the construction. After numerous calls to the city and visits from the inspector, she eventually got the permits, but ever since then, my wife and I have been constant targets of harassment. She put a sign in her front yard accusing me of being a sex offender. This was particularly embarrassing as we remember small children who live on a block, and I'm sure their parents saw the sign. I did contact Lieutenant Amy Rowe of the Shreveport Community Police. She consulted with the Shreveport City Attorney. The sign was, in fact, illegal. It was defamation, not protected by freedom of speech or expression. She also suggests that this matter could have been pursued through a criminal court and civil court matter. In the end, my wife and I decided not to pursue it through the legal system because we did not want to escalate tensions anymore with our neighbors. So we decided not to do it legally. The sign did come down eventually, but the harassment continues. Our neighbor leave her car running in her front driveway, windows down, all four doors open, playing loud music for extended amounts of time. If I'm in my front yard mowing my grass or taking the trash can out to the curb, she'll yell at me, curse at me, swear at me for no apparent reason. This is very unpleasant, and it does bother me when she does this. And also, she gives my wife and I the middle finger all the time unprovoked. Two things have happened this year which have led my wife and I to consider a fence as a buffer between us and her. She's a very large Pyrenees dog that barks all the time, very aggressive. When I'm cutting my grass in the front yard, the dog will bark at me, and she'll come and say, "Good boy, Timmy," same thing in the backyard. Recently, we had a fence contractor come out to give us an estimate of the fence cost. Dog was barking at us very aggressively, and the fence contractor responded by saying, "I see why you want a fence now." About 2 months ago, on Monday, June 13th, the dog was barking from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. nonstop. The next day, on Tuesday, the 14th, she put a sign in her window facing her house saying, "Laugh out loud, woof, woof."
Mr. Krug, as you mentioned earlier on, we're not really here to hear about disputes between.
I do understand that.
And I understand these are mitigating factors, but if you could just move on to specifics about the variance that you're requesting.
Okay, sure, okay. Well, we do, before I mention, we do have a fear that the dog would cross over to our property and hurt. My wife has a fear of aggressive and large dogs, and we are afraid one day the dog will actually cross over to our property and hurt my wife and our cats. And also, in this picture here, the dog is crossing over already onto our property. And one more thing I'd like to mention too, there was a police presence next door. Four units popped up very quickly. They surrounded our house. To see this happen next door is very comfortable for me and my wife to see this. Now, we have applied for a 3-foot fence variance. So we applied for the 3-foot fence according to city variance, received this permit. Now, the original plan we submitted We have a very large front yard. It's 54 feet from the front house to the sidewalk, plus additional 11 feet from the sidewalk to the street. So it's a total of 65 feet total from the front of the house to the street. In our house right here, we have, let's see, laser pointer. Right here, we have like 4 feet worth of bushes in front of our house. Now the variance is going to be, so right here, the first 15 feet will be 6 feet in height. Is that better? Okay. The variance, the first 15 feet will be 6 feet in height. And for the next 5 feet, it will slope down from 6 to 3 feet. And the remainder of the fence will be 3 feet according to the state ordinance. This is a side view of the diagram for you. Again, the first 15 feet will be 6 feet in height. The next 5 feet will slope down from 6 to 5, will slope down from 6 to 3 feet, and the remainder will be 3 feet according to city ordinance. In this picture here, the fence will be, let's see, there we go. From here to the first yellow flag will be 6 feet in height. And then from the first to the second yellow flag, it will slope down from 6 to 3 feet, and the remainder will be 3 feet in all. So again, the first 15 feet will be 6 feet in height, right here. And then from the first yellow flag to the second yellow flag, it will slope down from 6 to 3 feet. And the remainder will be 3 feet in all. We do understand our neighbor has a right to use her driveway properly and safely. In this diagram here, she has all this space here, let's see, to back her vehicle out into the street properly. The variance is only at 20 feet or 35% of her front yard. She still has 40 feet or 65% of her front yard to back her vehicle out into the street. So this would be the 3-foot fence here according to the city ordinance. Also, this should not impact driver safety on our block either. Our street, Albany has a very wide street, about 32 feet wide, so this should not impact driver safety up and down the street as well. And also, furthermore, I'd like to say, the fence should not impact her ability to open and close her car doors either properly. This is her original driveway right here. She's a 5-foot buffer right here. And the grass line actually indicates the property line. So she's all this space here, open and close her car doors properly. Also in this picture here, all this space right here, open and close her car door properly. And all this space right here too. We also think the fence will make my wife feel safer when she comes home at night. That's when the dog barks at her most aggressively. And the fence should actually deter the dog from crossing over into our property and hurting my wife. And also, when she's playing her music very loud in her car doors open, it should minimize that as well. I'd also like to point out too that we have a number of neighbors on our block with much shorter front yards but higher fences extending further out. You can see right here. Right here. And these houses are on Albany Avenue. You can see right here. So these fences extend further out. They're above 3 feet. In this picture here, this is a neighbor's driveway. So that the part right here, the fence is extending further out. Also on Anderson Avenue, these fences extend further as well. As here, drive right next to that neighbor, extends further out. Nope, thank you. Here. There. Number 2, this should not impact the integrity of the neighborhood either. We're not asking for like a cinder block fence or a brick fence or a steel panel fence. It'd be wooden, board on board, cedar, natural color. We're not putting strange designs on it, strange colors on it. We can actually customize it, make it look nicer for the neighborhood as well. We're actually even willing to actually have the board face her property, make it look nicer for her. If we do that, we do request that she gives us permission to allow workers on her property, number 1. And number 2, since we're paying for the fence and it being on our property, that she let anything against the fence will actually damage her doors, damage it down the road. Also, like to point out too that we have a number of neighbors on our street.
Mr. Krug, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, with higher hedges. And despite these hedges and the fences I just showed you, here and there, our parking are actually increasing our block. When I moved in 2010, I paid $102 per square footage. These houses have sold since 2022, and you can see here it's actually gone up per square footage, 112, 100, and so on. Also on Anderson Avenue as well. You can see they've actually increased despite the bushes and hedges.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kruger.
Okay, thank you.
Your time has expired. Anyone else wish to speak on this case?
Thank you.
I'll remind subsequent speakers that you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudia Krug. I live with my husband at 432 Albany Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105. I understand, and after this presentation, that you guys are not here to hear any dispute, so I will just concentrate on explaining our position on the fence. We consider ourselves very private people, and presenting this case in front of you has been a very difficult decision for us to make. We are just requesting a partial variance. It's not going to impede any visibility for either the neighbor or the rest of our neighbors, which are driving every day in this very wide road. And we believe this will deter we consider him aggressive dog crossing to our property, which unfortunately they already is. I don't feel safe in my own property when I come to the front of my door, and we believe that this fence again will deter de-escalate this unfortunate situation. We, as my husband already explained, this shouldn't affect the rest of the neighborhood. We have had 2 people reach out to us and support the fence, and it's as the letter that you guys might have on file says, and also the report from the city, which I would like just to quote one sentence there, that it says, however, the granting of the variance will not result in a profound negative impact on the area. And with this being said, we would like you, gentlemen, to consider our variance based on something that we consider a hardship, which might not be the same for any other person that is outside this, like I said, unfortunate situation. But it would impact. It would benefit just deterring any problem in the future. And I'm sorry I had to address that. And the fence won't affect the neighborhood. Thank you so much for hearing our request.
Thank you, Ms.
Good
Krug.
afternoon.
Anyone else wish to speak for case 22-20?
I did, but I didn't fill out.
That's okay. Come on forward. You can fill one out and give it to Mr. Kobe when you're done.
Okay.
My name is Laura Hyatt, and I've known Kevin from the gym for maybe 1 to 2 years. This is my first time to meet Claudia, but Kevin has...
I need your address, please.
162 Sand Beach Boulevard.
Thank you. Please continue.
This is my first day to meet Miss Claudia. Anyway, Kevin and I have talked at the gym and gotten to know each other, and my observation of him at the gym is he is very friendly to everyone. He's very respectful. We have a lot of older people there. He asks how they're doing. He wipes the machines down. I'm just saying by observation, he appears to me very reasonable, very respectful person. He has never, though he's talked to me about this, he has never said anything overly disrespectful towards his neighbor, but he has indicated that there are grave concerns there, and he does not want the situation to escalate. So you may know this Bible verse. It says, if it is up to you, live at peace with others, if at all possible. And so Kevin and Miss Claudia have no control over the behavior of this neighbor, but they do not want this situation to become inflamed any more than it is. And it seems to me that in his description of the fence, it's been thoughtfully considered. He's trying hard to make it look nice and appropriate for the neighborhood. So I would just like to express my support and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hyatt. Anyone else wish to speak for case 22-20? Anyone wish to speak against case 22-20? What do we hear?
I have a couple of questions before we.
We need a
proceed.
motion on the floor.
What was it? What
We-
did you call
we-
it again?
We just need a motion.
Oh. I move that we approve the variance.
All right, motion by Mr. Woods to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brandon. Mr. Hendricks?
I requested we go out of order. I have a couple of questions for Mr. Cruz.
All right, there's a motion to go out of order by Mr. Hendricks. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, second by Mr. Brandon. Open the vote, please. Please vote. Who would you like to recall?
Mr. Cruz? Sure. I just had a couple of questions
Sure.
for you for clarification. You made two comments. Well, I'm sorry, one comment about the dog, your neighbor's dog. Since the fence does not encircle your whole property in the front, do you feel that this is going to stop the dog from coming over into your property?
We think so. I know with the city ordinance, she has the right to use her driveway to get out, and we don't want to block her view, endanger her safety. But we do think they would deter the dog from coming over. Just like the 6 feet fence would deter him from coming over. And it is scary to have him bark at me very aggressively, and to have her reinforce this. And I do worry about my wife when she comes home at night. And also, we have cats, and I do worry about him attacking the cats. So we do think the fence will deter the dog from crossing over.
Okay, and my second question is, do you think that the fence will stop the harassment?
I think what decreased it, in the city report, the staff nurse mentioned that we've been advised by 2 police officers not to engage and not to talk to her at all. But the officers did say, the report did say the officers do agree that the fence will decrease some, just to decrease visibility from her. And I mean, it would be a little safer when when my grass in the front yard and she's like swearing at me, cursing at me, that she doesn't see me, that she's less likely to swear at me and give me the middle finger.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions to Mr. Krug while he's here? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Chair moves we go back into regular session.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hendricks. Please open the vote. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. There's a motion on the floor to approve by Mr. Woods, second by Mr. Brannon. Does that motion stand? Does your second stand?
Yes.
All right. If there's any discussion? All right. Please open the voting and please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, case 22-21, 938 North Market Street. Leon Signs, anyone here for that? Please come forward.
Good afternoon. Dan Verboski, 851 East Northeast Loop 323, Tyler, Texas.
Sorry, did you say Riboski?
Verboski.
Verboski, thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm here representing our company, who's the sign company for ABC Auto. This is the current signage at the ABC Auto on Market Street. They have 3 stores here in Shreveport, about 32 total. This store is not consistent with their current brand. They went away from quality parts discount prices to just ABC Auto Parts. This is the proposed signage. This signage is smaller than the current signage. The current signage is about 450 feet. This signage is about 350 feet total, but it is not compliant with the current ordinance. If they were to go to the current ordinance for this sign, that signage would look like this. Our customer is concerned that by improving the look of their store, they would be less visible and lose business. And they are 135 feet from the street at this location. That didn't really show it that well, but that measurement there is 135 feet. So they would like to improve their signage, get their store to be brand consistent, look a little bit better, and have a sign that is smaller than the current signs, but bigger than what's allowed by the ordinance. That's all I have.
I have a question about, are they typically catering to walk-in customers, or do they typically supply local mechanic and auto shops?
They
I
do
see their
both.
trucks running around, delivering. Are they mostly wholesale, or are they mostly retail to, like if I needed a set of brake shoes or brake pads, could I walk in and buy them, or are they mainly catering to professional mechanics?
I don't know their exact business mix. They've got a significant percentage of both. They can do a lot of walk-in business. It is not an insignificant part of their revenue, which is why they have the stores located, 30-some stores throughout Texas and western Louisiana to capture that walk-in business. A lot of people that, it's not the new cars. A lot of times they're coming here, people with older cars that require more repairs. So they are a discount retailer. They just don't want to look discount, but they do get a significant percentage of their revenue from walk-in.
Okay. Any further questions for Mr. Verbosky? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for case 22-21? Anyone wish to speak against case 22-21? All right, what do we hear? Motion by Mr. Brannon to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hendricks. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Tab 10 is case 22-18, 602 Kirby Place. This was deferred from last month. Anyone here wishing to speak for this case? Anyone here wishing to speak against this case? What do we hear? Motion by Mr. Brannon to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. Any discussion? All right. Please open the voting and please vote. Motion carries unanimous. This brings us to the end of our public hearing. We have a committee chair report. I believe the only committee chairs we have out are for our nominating committee.
Correct. I asked that we defer this until the next meeting.
All right, thank you very much. We will hear from the nominating committee in September and vote on officers at that time. Mr. Clark, do you have any comments for us?
I will be very brief, Mr. Chair, since you all have an opportunity to have a short meeting. We've done a whole lot of things. At your next meeting, we will be introducing you very hopefully to a new planner that will be coming to us. We've extended an offer to a planner, and she did accept the offer, and hopefully she'll be with you at the next meeting. I think that once we get that done, the staff is doing an incredible job. I share with you on many occasions that the young planners for some reason keep me thinking that I'm young. And Mr. Woods, that's why I'm still around here. I don't feel the need to go anywhere because they keep me going. But I'm hoping that you're noticing the work that they're doing and the research of these cases that are coming before you. They take the applicants from the day that they walk in the door and they follow them throughout the process, and that's why they are so well at presenting these cases to you. I'm going to just put him on the spot for just a second and talking about short-term rentals. We went live with short-term rentals this month, and I'm just asked Adam Bailey to share with you. And I put him on the spot. He had no knowledge that I was going to do this, but he can share with you because it just rolls off his lips like air rolling in the room.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. I think by what Mr. Clark is saying, we went live this month is the platform to which the NPC, the city, and the Tourism Bureau pitched in to went live. So the short-term rental ordinance has actually been on the book since last August, and it's just been more by word of mouth. People can come in. Currently, according to our records, there's about 195 listings for short-term rentals in Shreveport. That's up from about 120 a year ago. Of those 195, approximately 70 are registered. Earlier this week, 110 courtesy letters went out to those that were not registered to let them know that there is an application platform that allows them to go through. It's called Rentalscape. We have access to it. City Revenue has access to it, as well as the Tourism Bureau, in order to actually see what's going on. Our first set of applications through that are going through as we speak. We received 4 today. So it's an ongoing process. You may see some upcoming special exception use because of the ordinance. If a potential applicant wants to open up a short-term rental and they are within 500 feet of an existing short-term rental, they would come before the ZBA for special exception use. We anticipate of the 110 letters that went out, and there's bound to be some within 500 feet of each other, but we'll keep you posted. That's all I have, Mr. Clark.
Thank you. And I don't know if Mr. Jordan has any updates on complaints and certificates of occupancies or not.
I don't, but if you give me a second, I can update them on it.
One of the things that is required is for working under my direction is you have to be always prepared and ready. But I think you need to be aware of what we're doing each and every month.
All right. Year to date for commercial COs, we have issued 213. I'm about to give you the home base CO. 236.
Home base?
Home base. Year to date.
So of those 200, we've only seen maybe 1 or 2. What criteria triggers a hearing for us?
If it's correct me if I'm wrong, Reginald, but if it's you're talking about the home-based businesses?
Yes.
If it's a beauty or barber shop, you would see it. Otherwise, it's handled administratively through the zoning administrator.
And I'm going to give you the violations we've issued year to date.
And the short-term rental,
Oh, short-term rental?
Yeah.
Okay.
if it's within 500 feet. But you will notice that, pre-COVID, there was a wide gap between commercial certificates of occupancies and home-based business certificate of occupancy. But if you notice, each month, that gap is getting closer and closer, and it's leading in a direction where possibly at some point, home-based businesses will overtake just commercial locations. That's just appear to be the trend that's happening, that because of the significant technology and so forth, a lot of things can be done with limited overhead and without persons having to come into an office. And that's part of the reason that we have low occupancy rates downtown in the offices that we have. Doesn't mean that business is not operating. Does not mean that people are not still transacting. It just means they found a more effective way to do it, and thus we have the vacant businesses and vacant offices around the city. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, Mr. Clark, thank you. Mr. Jordan, you had one more thing for us?
Yeah, as far as your violations, we have issued 371 in the city.
Year to date?
Year to date.
All right, thank you very much. Any comments? from
And
the
hold
board?
on, one other thing. The short-term rentals, we have issued 86.
86, okay. Any comments from the board? All right. Then we are adjourned.
Y'all didn't make up your mind how many we issued. Thank you, y'all say.